potentiometer. Have you ever seen potentiometer in your laboratory? If not, then I am going to show you right now. This is the instrument called potential difference, and it's very simple instrument. You can see that a wooden plank is there on which a meter scale is there, which has graduation both the sides, and there are 10 wires. These 10 wires are not exactly 10 wires, it is a single wire wrapped around like this. So it makes 10 wire, but it is a single wire. There are two terminals through which we can pass the electricity through it. So this is a simple construction of this instrument called potentiometer. Now potentiometer, why it is called potentiometer? Potentiometer it is called because it is used to measure the potential difference between the 2 points. It can also measure the EMF of a cell. EMF of a cell means electromotive force. Terminal voltage of a cell when we are not drawing any current from the cell. So this can measure that also. And that's why it is called potentiometer. So construction, you have understood what is its construction. Now what is its principle? On what principle it works? So its principle is very simple. It works that potential difference across a wire is directly proportional to its length. V is proportional to L. To understand this is a simple circuit we draw. E is a cell, K is a key, ammeter, rheostat. If you have not seen all these things, I can show you. This is ammeter, and to measure the current, this is rheostat, and key, single key. This is single key. Now, if we just try to understand, if we close this key, current start flowing it. Let's say I is the current flowing through it, and L is its total length of the wire. What we have done, we have represented all these 10 wires with a single wire AB. Single wire AB means between these two terminals, these are the two terminals A and B, and the 10 wires we have represented with a single wire here. So it's very simple. Now what we are going to do, current starts flowing it. So you see that resistance at every point is different, because resistance between these 2 points will be different, resistance between these 2 points will be different, between these 2 points will be different, between these 2 points will be different. Why? Because the resistance depends on the length of the wire. And potential difference, V is equal to, you know that V is equal to Ri. So when R is varying, V is also varying. R increases along with the length, so V also increases along with the length. That's why we can say that V is directly proportional to length. So this is this is the principle of potentiometer. V is equal to X. X is equal to V by X is a constant called potential gradient. Potential gradient. Volt per meter is its unit. How potential gradient is defined? Potential difference per unit length across a current carrying wire is called its potential gradient. Now see, it's very interesting to note, because there are few things which I will be discussing here which are normally asked in your competitive examination, NEET, JEE, about the potential gradient. So let us discuss all those points here only. So after that we will move further. So see, V is equal to X, L, X is equal to V by L. Now x is equal to v by l. We are going to understand on what factors x depend. Now v is equal to what? R I. V is equal to R I. R is the resistance, I is the current, L is the length, this length. Any length we can take, we have taken here this length. So you see that R by L. What is R? You know that, you understood, R is equal to rho L by A. R is equal to rho L by A. Rho is the specific resistance of this wire. Specific resistance is resistance per unit length, per unit area of cross section of wire is called specific resistance, and it is a constant quantity. L is the length of wire. A is what? L is length. A is area of cross section. Area of cross section of the wire. So if we substitute here, x is equal to, in place of R, rho L I upon A, and L cancel. So rho I by A. X is equal to rho I by A. And if we keep I also constant, rho is already constant, and if we keep A also constant, then X will remain constant. Potential gradient. So it will remain constant if I is kept constant. So this is the principle. Again, I am coming to this point. When constant current is flowing through a conductor, then potential difference across any 2 points of that conductor is directly proportional to its length. I need to be kept constant. So this is X. Now on what factors X depend? Potential gradient depends only on V and L. It depends only upon V and L. Now see, X is equal to V by L. V is the potential difference here. About this entire wire, if we talk about, what is the potential difference between these 2 points? It is nothing but the EMF of the cell. If we are keeping rheostat at 0, here resistance we are keeping 0, then whatever the EMF of the cell, it is the potential difference across these 2 points. And total length is L. X can be written as E by L also. So you see that X, on what factors X will depend finally. Try to understand, because this will help you solving the numerical problem, that problem. Whatever is the potential difference across these 2 terminals, if no resistance is here, then E is the potential difference, and what is the total length? L. It depends only upon E and L. If area of cross section is constant and current is kept constant. Okay. Now see, suppose we replace these wires. As I told you, these wires are consistent of Magnine or Constantine. Magnine or Constantine are the 2. Constantine are the alloy. Magnine or Constantine. Magnine is consisted of manganese, nickel and copper in a proper ratio. Constantine is consisted of only nickel and copper. See, why we use this alloy to make potentiometer wire, why we don't take copper wire simply? Because you see that these alloy have got high resistivity, and if we take copper wire, large amount of heat will be generated because large amount of current will be flowing. But if we take these wire, these alloy, they have got high resistance, so flow of current is very less and heat produced will be very less. Why we want less production of heat? Because if heat produces while flowing the current, then temperature will be varying at various places. Because of that variation in the temperature, rho will be varying, because rho depends on the temperature, and X will also vary. That we don't want. We want X should remain always constant. So this is how principle we have understood. Why we are using constantine and magnetite wire we have understood. Why cannot we use a copper wire, that we have also understood. And X, on what factors it depends? Depends only on potential difference across it and length, irrespective of material. Whatever material you want to use, you can use it. So after this, we come to use of potentiometer. See, use of potentiometer is mainly to find out the EMF of a cell. And in your theory, there are two experiments: comparison of EMF of two cells and to find the internal resistance of a cell. So today we are going to understand how we can find out the EMF of a cell, or how we can compare the EMF of two cells. This is a 3-mark question normally asked in the examination, so try to understand it very carefully. Plus, this understanding will help you in performing these experiments in the laboratory also. It's very simple. See, this circuit we have to make. This is called primary circuit. And in this circuit, what we have done, we have taken a cell of EMF normally more than 3 volt, single key ammeter and rheostat, as I already have shown you. Rheostat can vary the current in the circuit if required. What is the use of rheostat in the circuit? We want to keep current fixed. So by chance if current getting changed, then we can again fix the current using rheostat. This is the role of rheostat. Now this circuit is called primary circuit. Now what we are going to do? We are going to use potentiometer to compare EMFs of two cells. EMF of two cells. So this circuit is a fixed circuit. Whatever experiment of potentiometer you are doing, this circuit will remain unchanged. Now one more we have to add to this. This is a secondary circuit we are going to make. And in that secondary circuit, we take two cells. These two cells, let's say, having EMF E1 and E2. Now we want to compare their EMF. What circuit we'll make? We'll connect their positive terminal to terminal A. Positive terminal of both here. And negative terminal of both will connect to two terminals of a two-way key. Have you ever seen a two-way key? This is two-way key. It is having 3 terminals, 1, 2, 3. And a key can be fixed here also, key can be fixed here also. Okay, so it is a two-way key. Now, these are the P, Q, S. These are the 3 terminals of the two-way key. Now, with the middle terminal, we use a galvanometer. Galvanometer you must have seen. This is the galvanometer. Galvanometer is having needle at the center. It can give deflection either side. And other terminal of this is connected to a jockey. What is jockey? This is jockey. Here is the terminal wire we connect. This wire is connected to this, and then it is connected to one of the terminals of the galvanometer. This jockey can be slided on the wire. Okay. After making this is the secondary circuit. It is completed. Let's get it out. Now, what we do, we connect these two P and Q. P and Q by putting a key between this. Suppose this is P, this is Q, this is S. So between P and Q, we have fixed the key. Now what has happened? This cell has come in the circuit. Now with the help of jockey, first we press the jockey here, then press the jockey here. We see that in galvanometer there are two-sided deflection. Where two-sided deflection comes, I will explain you right now, slightly later on. Then we can keep on putting the jockey here at different points until we get a zero deflection in the galvanometer. Let's say we get a zero deflection at length L1. Here you see that this cell is out of the circuit because it is not connected. Only this cell is connected. Now, why do we get zero deflection and why do we get two-sided deflection? I am just going to explain it. See, whatever the potential difference is there between point A and J, it is equal to EMF of cell, E1. So, in this circuit, there is no net potential difference. So, if no net potential difference, current will not flow and galvanometer will give zero deflection. And suppose when this is connected here, then let's say it gives deflection towards left. We can assume that this potential difference is less than its EMF, so direction of current will be in this way. And when this is connected here, jockey is connected here, then this potential difference becomes more than EMF because potential difference is increasing with the increase in length. So current will be flowing in this way. So in both the situation you saw the direction of current in galvanometer is in different way. When it was connected here, current was flowing like this. When it is connected here, current is flowing like this. That's why galvanometer gives two-sided deflection. And here this potential difference is equal to EMF, so no deflection. So this is what, let's say here potential difference is V1. V1 is equal to X L1. You know that V is equal to XL. So X, and what is the length here? L1. And this will be equal to what? E1. Because both are, this potential difference and this EMF both are equal. Now what we do in next step, we remove the key from here and we press E here. Like what we do? Now we remove the key from here and we put the key here. So this will be left out and this will come in the circuit. So now again we find the balancing length. As we found the balancing length in the previous case. Now let's say balancing length is coming here at L2. The distance is L2. How we will find the balancing length? Again we will place the jockey at different places and we will try to find the zero deflection in the galvanometer. So this is L2. Got my point? Now, and suppose this is V2. What will be V2? V2 will be X L2. V2 will be X L2 and it is nothing but the E2, EMF of the second cell. If we divide these two, then we get L1 upon L2 is equal to E1 upon. So knowing length L1 and L2, we can find the ratio E1 upon E2. We can compare the EMF of the two cells. Now the same question in examination is asked. Describe process of comparing EMF of two cells. What you will do? You will explain the construction of the potentiometer, principle. Then this method, how you will write in the examination, in 3 points. First, we will make the circuit as shown in the figure. Second point, you will write E1, E2 are the cells whose EMFs are to be compared. We press the key K, then we connect PQ, E1 cell comes in the circuit, and with the help of jockey we try to find out the balancing length or condition of no deflection in the galvanometer. So let's say it is L1, so V1 is equal to X L1 is equal to E1. Then we remove key from here, PQ, and we put the key between Q and S. Again we find the balancing length with the help of jockey. Let's say it is L2, so V2 is equal to XL2, E2, dividing this. Knowing L1 and L2, we can compare EMF of two cells, E1 and E2. This question can be modified. Find out the EMF of a cell using potentiometer. So in this case, experiment will be same. Only thing is that one of the two EMFs is already known to us, and second EMF we can find. These two cells, what kind of these two cells are? These two cells are, normally we take primary cell. This is Leclanché cell. This is positive terminal of Leclanché cell, and inside there is a zinc rod, is negative terminal. Ammonium chloride solution we take inside it. So this becomes one cell. This is called Daniell cell, and in Daniell cell again a zinc rod is there. Copper sulfate solution we take inside, and dilute H2SO4 we take in this. It acts as a negative terminal, it acts as a positive terminal. Okay, so these two cells normally are taken, but any other two cells you can take. And this is how we can